Dear student, today we shall start another topic of respiratory system, and that is restrictive lung disease. So after completion of obstructive lung disease, we shall discuss restrictive lung disease. So as it clear from the name that there is a restriction in the expansion capacity of the lung. So there is some pathological changes in the lung parenchyma, especially fibrotic changes are going to seen in the lung parenchyma, and that interfere the expansion capacity of the lung. So lung expansibility is going to reduce here. So in contrast to the obstructive lung disease, you have seen that in chronic obstructive lung disease there was somewhat partial or complete obstruction in the respiratory passage, but here there is restriction, and restriction of what? Restriction of the expansion capacity of the lung parenchyma. So lung is unable to expand. That lead to the various kind of manifestation clinically in the form of exertional dyspnea, non-productive or sometimes dry cough, along with cyanosis, tachypnea, and the total lung capacity is going to reduce. So this is the basic difference between the obstructive lung disease and restrictive lung disease. In obstructive lung disease, the total lung capacity was going to increase because of the obstruction. The air passage remain inside the alveoli, and so the total lung capacity is going to increase. But here there is the total lung capacity is going to reduce. And in the obstructive lung disease, you have seen that there are different type of radiological manifestation changes are seen in the different COPD. But in case of restrictive lung disease, especially in the lung parenchymal disease, there will be bilateral diffuse involvement of the lung, and that can be seen in the X-ray finding that in the sometime in the infiltrative disorder of lung disease there will be diffuse ground glass appearance in the X-ray finding. So that is a very different clinical finding, radiological finding, the pathological finding, both are very much different in obstructive lung disease and restrictive lung disease. So basic defect in the restrictive lung disease is that there is restriction in the lung expansion capacity. So there are different causes of reduction or restriction in the lung expansibility. The cause may be, if you anatomically, if you see that from outside to the inside, if defect in the normal chest wall or thoracic cage, that can restrict the lung expansion capacity, like in the form of kyphosis, kyphoscoliosis, that is the deformity in the chest wall that restrict the lung expansion capacity. If चेस्ट वाल के ठीक नीचे अगर हम लोग आते हैं तो न्यूरोमस्कुलर डिफेक्ट अगर हो तो भी एक्सपेंशन घट जाएगा. तो दैट विल बी न्यूरोमस्कुलर डिफेक्ट, स्पेशली इट इज सीन इन केस ऑफ पोलियो. एंड इफ़ यू गो इनवर्ड, ठीक चेस्ट वाल के नीचे प्लूरा है, तो प्लूरा में अगर कोई डिफेक्ट हो, like in the pleural accumulation of fluid in the form of pleural effusion, or air like in the form of pneumothorax, pleural thickening, adhesion. So in this condition, if there is a defect in the pleura, the lung expansion capacity will be reduced. But if if you go in the inner side, and if there is a defect in the lung parenchyma, that also lead to the restriction in the lung capacity. So the all causes are grouped under 4 heading, that is whether the defect in the chest wall, whether the defect in the pleura, or whether the defect in the lung parenchyma. But in this condition, like in the defect in the chest wall or in the defect in the pleura, या neuromuscular defect, the lung parenchyma is unaffected. Lung parenchyma is primarily affected by the different kind of causes, different kind of pathological changes will be seen in the lung parenchyma. So that are included under one heading, that is known as interstitial lung disease. So interstitial lung disease is a group of disorder that is characterized by the diffuse parenchymal changes or damage in the lung parenchyma. These changes or these pathological changes can be seen in the alveoli, in the alveolar epithelium, in the alveolar wall, in the basement membrane, in the perivascular space, in the capillary wall, or in case of whole alveolar wall. So their defect is located in the lung parenchyma, and this defect or pathological changes are diffuse. So involvement is diffuse, bilateral involvement is going to seen here. So the whole thing is that in case of interstitial lung disease, mainly the lung parenchyma, the component of lung parenchyma is going to involve, and they mostly undergo destructive changes, and due to the destruction it is followed by the healing process. It is replaced by the damaged lung parenchyma is replaced mostly by the fibrotic changes, and that fibrosis interfere the expansion capacity of the lung, and that lead to the various kind of manifestation, various kind of changes in the lung, and that lead to the development of restrictive lung disease. So in the interstitial lung disease, according to their cause, according to their pathological manifestation, according to their radiological manifestation, according to their clinical manifestation, there are different interstitial lung disease, different causes that may lead to the involvement, diffuse involvement of the lung parenchyma, and can cause interstitial lung disease. So whole, according to the important pathological changes in the lung parenchyma by the various kind of etiological factor, the interstitial lung disease is grouped under 4 heading. So let us see what are the disease that are included in the interstitial lung disease. The most important changes in the lung parenchyma in the interstitial lung disease is fibrotic changes. So lung parenchyma, after damage or destruction, it is replaced by the fibrotic changes. So fibrosis is more advanced here. So when the fibrosis is advanced, the causes of this changes in the lung parenchyma is grouped under one heading, that is the fibrotic changes in the lung interstitial lung disease having predominant fibrosis, interstitial lung disease which show predominant fibrosis in the lung parenchyma. So in this category there are many causes that lead to the predominant fibrotic changes, that are include first causes, that is called pneumoconiosis. So pneumoconiosis is again a group of disorder that is caused by the inhalation of the different kind of dust particle. Inhalation of the dust particle that may lead to the various kind of changes, various kind of manifestation, and that is discussed under one heading, that is pneumoconiosis. So if inhalation is due to the coal dust, then it is known as simple coal worker pneumoconiosis. If it is due to the inhalation of silica, that lead to the pneumoconiosis known as silicosis. If it is due to the inhalation of the asbestos particle, that lead to the development of asbestosis. If it is due to the inhalation of beryllium particle, that is known as beryliosis. So there are different type of pneumoconiosis according to the inhalation of the various kind of the inhalant dust particle. So this is the one thing we have to discuss in detail. So pneumoconiosis are mainly associated with the important changes in the lung parenchyma in the form of fibrosis. Sometimes the fibrosis is so advanced that it takes the form of nodule in the lung parenchyma, and sometimes there there may be chance of development of autoimmunal change, or sometimes interstitial fibrosis is more advanced. So there are different kind of manifestation is seen in the pneumoconiosis, which will be seen in later on in the different discussion. Like as for example, silicosis causes fibrosis, asbestosis not only causes interstitial fibrosis, but it can involve the pleura also, and pleura undergo changes in the form of pleural effusion, pleural adhesion, thickening, and it is another important characteristic feature in the asbestosis that it may lead to the tumor formation in the form of mesothelioma. So different kind of pneumoconiosis may lead to the different type of manifestation, but mostly markedly lung parenchyma undergo fibrotic changes and nodule formation. So that will be discussed on one heading, that is when we shall discuss pneumoconiosis as a whole. Some of the fibrotic changes are dominantly seen in certain conditions like the connective tissue disorder. So many connective disorder can involve the lung parenchyma. Although the connective disorder is a systemic disorder that can involve the many organ, many system as the time passes, but lung parenchyma can also be involved by these systemic collagen disorders, like in case of systemic sclerosis, like in case of rheumatoid arthritis. As a rheumatoid arthritis, all of you know that it is a disorder of joint, disease of joint, autoimmune disorder, but it can involve the lung parenchyma as well as pleura, and there is a formation of nodule, rheumatoid nodule in the lung parenchyma, which undergo fibrinoid necrosis, and this rheumatoid nodule in the lung parenchyma, involvement of the lung in the rheumatoid arthritis, it is known as Kaplan syndrome. So Kaplan syndrome is nothing but association of rheumatoid arthritis with interstitial lung disease in the form of pneumoconiosis or in the form of parenchymal changes in the lung parenchyma, that is the rheumatoid nodule is formed. So that is a very important thing. SLE is also a collagen disease that may involve the lung parenchyma or pulmonary vasculature. Sjogren's syndrome, Wegener's granulomatosis, dermatomyositis, polymyositis. So these are the collagen disease that although it involves the different organ, but lung parenchyma can also be involved, and the involvement is mostly seen as a fibrotic changes in the lung parenchyma. Sometimes there is the idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis is seen. Sometimes there is a non-specific interstitial pneumonia may be associated with predominant fibrotic changes that are included in the interstitial lung disease. So these are the disease, interstitial lung disease, different causes of interstitial lung disease that are predominantly associated with fibrotic changes in the lung parenchyma. Another group of the disorder that is seen in the interstitial lung disease, and that is predominantly lung parenchyma show granulomatous region. There is a formation of granuloma in the lung parenchyma, and in this group there are many possible causes, like in case of sarcoidosis, like in case of borreliosis, like in case of granulomatous vasculitis या वेगनर्स ग्रेनुलोमेटोसिस, नाम से ही क्लियर है. सो इन दिस कंडीशन there is a formation of granuloma, and all if you know that what is the structure of granuloma, we have discussed in very detail. So in this, all these conditions are associated with the formation of granuloma in the lung parenchyma, and that are associated with the interstitial lung disease. Another group of disorder that may be seen under heading of interstitial lung disease, and that is the changes due to the immunological reaction. So in the lung parenchyma can be involved by the immunological reaction by the different causes. So like in case of hypersensitivity pneumonitis या pulmonary eosinophilia because of the inhalation of the dust particle or allergic reaction. Delayed type of hypersensitivity reaction is going to seen in case in this condition, and that may lead to the various kind of changes in the lung parenchyma and can involve the lung and can restrict the lung expansion capacity. Fibrotic changes are also somewhat seen, and they are only associated with the immunological alteration, meaning by there is somewhat hypersensitivity reaction is the main cause for the involvement of lung parenchyma. So in this group, pulmonary eosinophilia, we have seen in day-to-day practice, there is a diffuse infiltration of eosinophil in the lung parenchyma, which can be seen in the X-ray as a ground glass appearance in bilateral diffuse ground glass appearance can be seen in the X-ray finding, and that is a very common condition, that is pulmonary eosinophilia. Sometimes another disease that are associated with the immunological changes and can involve the lung parenchyma, that is known as Goodpasture syndrome. That is a very important disease, and many questions are asked on the Goodpasture syndrome, that there is involvement of lung and kidney. So in the kidney there is formation of GBM antibody, glomerular basement membrane antibody, and that anti-GBM antibody deposited, they form the complex and they are going to deposit it on the pulmonary vasculature and causes damage, and your patient may develop in the form of hemoptysis. So there is immunological damage of the lung parenchyma as well as the pulmonary vasculature due to the formation of antibody against the glomerular basement membrane. तो डिफेक्ट है किडनी में, ग्लोमेरुलर बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन के अगेंस्ट में एंटीबॉडी बना, और ये एंटीबॉडी प्रेजेंट ऑन द एंटीजन ऑन द पल्मोनरी वास्कुलर वॉल, पल्मोनरी बेसमेंट मेम्ब्रेन, एंड दैट में causes damage and destruction, and that lead to the hemoptysis. So that association is known as Goodpasture syndrome, and there are many MCQ questions are asked on this topic, that rapidly progressive glomerulonephritis along with the pulmonary involvement, that there is a hemoptysis. So that association is known as Goodpasture syndrome, and that is a very important lung involvement in the immunological alteration. Some of the interstitial lung disease is due to the smoking. So smoking associated interstitial lung disease. So you have seen that interstitial or infiltrative lung disease are classified in 4 groups according to the major pathological changes in the lung parenchyma. Like if the predominantly fibrotic changes, उसमें भी बहुत सारा कारण था. इफ देयर इज ए ग्रेनुलोमेटस चेंजेस, ग्रेनुलोमा का फॉर्मेशन हो रहा था, उसका भी बहुत सारा कारण है. इफ इट इज एसोसिएटेड विद द इम्यूनोलॉजिकल अल्टरेशन, उसमें भी बहुत सारा कारण बना. एंड सम टाइम अनदर ग्रुप इज डिस्कस अंडर हेडिंग दैट इंटरस्टिशियल लंग डिजीज ड्यू टू स्मोकिंग. So these are the some important aspects of interstitial lung disease, different type of interstitial lung disease, and all these causes has got their own manifestation, on clinical presentation, on radiological finding, on their pathogenesis, on their etiology, but the net result is that the lung parenchyma, there is a diffuse damage, diffuse involvement of the lung parenchyma. The whole component of the lung parenchyma can be affected: alveoli, alveolar epithelium, alveolar wall, basement membrane, pulmonary capillaries. So all perivascular space, lymphatic. So all these component of lung parenchyma is going to somewhat involved, and they undergo destruction, they undergo fibrotic changes, they undergo nodular formation, they undergo granulomatous inflammatory reaction, immunological reaction, hypersensitivity reaction. So various kind of reaction and changes are seen in the affected lung, and the net result will be that they causes restriction in the lung expansion capacity, and that may lead to the development of a disease as a group as a whole, that is known as restrictive lung disease. So restrictive lung disease में बहुत सारा कारण बना, उसको हम लोग देखें. Now come to the another important fact about this whole restrictive interstitial lung disease. जितने भी इंटरस्टिशियल लंग डिजीज हुए, निमोकोनियोसिस से लेकर के स्मोकिंग तक, ये जितने भी कॉज हुए उसको हम लोग एक जनरल कंसेप्ट बनाते हैं जे हाउ दिस डिजीज इज गोइंग टू डेवलप, व्हाट आर द पैथोलॉजिकल चेंजेज, व्हाट आर द बेसिक मैकेनिज्म बिहाइंड इट, how the lung parenchyma involve, and they undergo destruction, they undergo various kind of pathological changes. So try to make a general concept about the whole interstitial lung disease that lead to the involvement of lung parenchyma, involvement of diffuse lung parenchyma. So if you see this thing, we just group under two heading, that the causes may be two type, either exogenous or it may be endogenous. Exogenous causes are included under heading that they are exogenous in origin, meaning by it is due to the inhalation of various kind of dust particle, like foreign particle, dust particle, like carbon particle, silica particle, asbestos particle, various type of dust in the form of smoke, in the form of fumes, in the form of gas, in the form of drugs, radiation. So these are the exogenous agents that can involve the lung parenchyma. And sometimes the endogenous causes are also associated because of genetic predisposition or familial tendency or immunological reaction. So these are the endogenous stimuli. So there are two types of stimuli that initiate the pathogenesis of lung interstitial lung disease as a whole. So let us try to understand. So following after the exposure of these agent, either exogenous agent or endogenous agent, there is a reaction is going to happen. So if the dust particle inhale for a long duration, suppose 20 to 30 year of the long exposure of the various kind of the dust particle, कोई भी डस्ट पार्टिकल किसी का कोई भी रूप हो सकता है, उसको एज ए होल हम लोग डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, या बिकॉज ऑफ द एनी टाइप ऑफ इम्यूनोलॉजिकल और जेनेटिक अल्टरेशन that initiate a various kind of manifestation. First of all, if the dust particle is inhaled and if their size is large, they go to the alveoli, they enters into the lung respiratory passage and go up to the alveoli. Some of the dust particle, various kind of dust particle are eliminated by the ciliary movement, and some of them are engulfed by the damage by the pulmonary macrophage. But still, some of the dust particle go into the alveoli, and they are going to deposited in the alveoli. So when this dust particle, various kind of dust particle are deposited in the alveoli undergo inflammation. So the first changes that start in the affected part of the lung parenchyma, the alveoli is going to affected, and alveoli undergo inflammatory reaction in the form of alveolitis. Next step, when the dust particle is deposited, aggregated in the lumen or in the alveolar sac, they are surrounded by, or they are engulfed by the macrophages. So macrophage laden dust particle are going to aggregated in the lumen, in the alveolar space, in the alveoli, and this macrophage is going to active. So when the macrophage is going to active, that lead to the various kind of reaction. These macrophages undergo releases various kind of cytokines. Some of the cytokines are chemotactic and some of the cytokines are fibrogenic. Cytotoxic cytokines like interleukin 6, interleukin 8, tissue necrosis factor, TNF, they activate after release of the activated macrophages. They activate the inflammatory cell like leukocyte, and this leukocyte releases various kinds of proteolytic enzyme, proteinase, collagenase, elastase that damage the alveolar parenchyma. So that from here the destruction of the lung parenchyma is going to start. Some of the free radicals are also released by the activated leukocyte, and that causes destruction and damage, initiate the damage and destruction of the lung parenchyma. So these are the first things that are released by the activated macrophages. Same time, some of the fibrogenic cytokines are released by the activated macrophages, and these fibrogenic cytokines include interleukin-1, tissue necrosis factor, platelet-derived growth factor, fibroblast growth factor. So these factors are going to release, and the main function of these factors that it causes proliferation of the fibroblast at the site of एग्रीगेटेड डस्ट पार्टिकल, जहाँ डस्ट पार्टिकल जमा हो गया है उसके चारों तरफ माइक्रोफाज आ गया, और माइक्रोफाज तो अपना सब रिएक्शन किया ही, साइटोटॉक्सिक साइटोकाइंस रिलीज़ किया, उसके चलते लिकोसाइट एक्टिवेट हुआ, लिकोसाइट बहुत सारा एंजाइम सब रिलीज़ करके डिस्ट्रक्शन शुरू कर दिया, इन्फ्लामेशन शुरू कर दिया, और उसके बाद नेक्स्ट स्टेप द फाइब्रोजेनिक cytokines that causes proliferation of the fibroblast, and this fibroblast causes production of collagen fiber, and there will be a starting of the fibrosis, and this is the very much initial pathological changes that will be seen in the affected region in the lung parenchyma, that the dust particle along with the aggregated macrophages along with the fibroblast, it is surrounded by the fibrous septa. So there is a formation of a lesion that is known as fibrosis, and there sometimes this fibrous changes form a nodule, that is a palpable mass, a small nodule. So that nodule can be appear in the affected part of the lung parenchyma. So because of the healing process, this is going to start, fibrosis is going to start in the form of interstitial fibrosis. इंटरस्टिशियल फाइब्रोसिस हुआ, फाइब्रोसिस के बाद फाइब्रस नोड्यूल बन गया, और कभी कभी ऐसा भी होता है कि ये नोड्यूल के अंदर नेक्रोसिस सेल जो है लंग पैरेन्काइमल सेल डैमेज हो जाता है, अंडरगो नेक्रोसिस, एंड दैट मे लीड टू द फॉर्मेशन ऑफ कैविटी. सो कैविटी विल बी गोइंग टू फॉर्म हियर, एंड दिस कैविटी विल कंटेन द डस्ट पार्टिकल along with the exudative material, and that can be come out in the form of expectoration, in the form of mucopurulent, in the form of in case of coal worker disease, the coal worker pneumoconiosis, black color sputum is going to produce, black color sputum is going to produce in case of coal worker pneumoconiosis because of these changes. So this is the one changes. At the same time, due to the entry of this dust particle, that is the foreign particle, that activate the immunological system, and when the immunological reaction is going to happen, both kind of cell mediated and antibody mediated cell are going to immunity are going to develop by the B cell. So B cell is going to activate, T cell is going to activate, and when the T cell is going to activate, it again activate the macrophages. Macrophage activate the leukocyte, and that can releases the various kind of cytokines, and that causes play the different role, and the net result is that there will be destructive changes in the lung parenchyma. There will be destruction and followed by the fibrotic changes. So destruction followed by fibrosis. So this there is a vicious cycle is going to start here. एक्टिवेशन होगा, उसके बाद उसका रिलीज होगा, उसके बाद लिकोसाइट एक्टिवेट हुआ, वो डैमेज किया, तो ये प्रोसेस चलते रहेगा. तो दैट डिपेंड्स अपॉन द सीवेरिटी, ड्यूरेशन ऑफ द डिजीज, how much amount of the dust particle is inhaled, what is the immunological status, what is the chemical nature of the chemical these agent, because some of the chemical agent are particles are soluble, some are non-soluble. So that depends, the pathological changes depends upon various type of region, various type of level, duration, severity, nature, chemical nature, immunological status, whether there is a comorbidity. So this is the change. So that will be going to happen. At the same time, the hypersensitivity reaction is sometimes seen in some condition. As you know that in case of interinterstitial lung disease, there is a immunological reaction is going to happen, and immunological reaction occurs in the aggravated form in the more hypersensitivity, that is known as hypersensitivity reaction. Hypersensitivity reaction क्या है? That is the aggravated stage of immunological reaction. उसको को हम लोग hypersensitivity reaction कहते हैं. So when there is a hypersensitivity reaction, that especially the delayed type of hypersensitivity reaction is going to seen. So that may lead to the formation of granuloma. So immunological reaction, activation of the T cell, activation of the B cell, and followed by the hypersensitivity reaction, that lead to the formation of granulomatous reaction, granulomatous inflammation, formation of granuloma in some condition. And this type of lesion is especially seen in case of sarcoidosis, in case of Wegener granulomatosis, in case of borreliosis. So these are the diseases that are associated with the granulomatous changes in the lung parenchyma, and it is because of the hypersensitivity reaction initiated by the inhalation of the exogenous or endogenous agent. At the same time, some of the abnormal immunological reaction is going to happen, and that abnormal immunological reaction is diagnosed or can be seen in case of a laboratory test, and there is a formation of autoantibody, and this is mostly IgM type. And this autoantibody sometimes take the form of rheumatoid factor, and rheumatoid factor is sometimes positive in case of pneumoconiosis, especially in case of silicosis, in case of coal-worker pneumoconiosis or asbestosis. The rheumatoid factor test is positive, and this positivity shows that they are associated with the autoimmune alteration. Autoantibody is going to form here, and that is lead to the development of another disease that is known as rheumatoid arthritis. So there is a very strong relation is going to made here that rheumatoid arthritis can develop in case of pneumoconiosis, especially along with the asbestosis or silicosis. There is association of rheumatoid arthritis with this type of pneumoconiosis, and that is known as Kaplan syndrome. And in this condition, there is a formation of rheumatoid nodule in the lung parenchyma, which undergoes central caseous necrosis along with the fibrocollagenous fibroblast structure. Macrophages are seen, and fibrinoid necrosis is seen here. Sometimes cavity formation is seen here. So this is a very important site for asking the question that Kaplan syndrome से क्या समझते हैं. Kaplan syndrome क्या है? It is a association of pneumoconiosis along with the rheumatoid arthritis. So these are the changes that can be seen in case of pneumoconiosis or interstitial lung disease. So lung, in this condition, the lung parenchyma is going to damage, and damaged lung is associated with the fibrosis and the fibrotic nodule, immunological alteration, granulomatous formation, and sometimes there is a hypersensitivity reaction. So various kind of changes that is seen in case of interstitial lung disease, in case of pneumoconiosis as a whole. So this is the basic mechanism. This is the mechanism that are associated with whole interstitial lung disease. कहीं ना कहीं यही चेंजेज होता है, किसी न किसी में कहीं फाइब्रोसिस ज़्यादा होता है, किसी में ग्रेनुलोमेटस फॉर्मेशन ग्रेनुलोमा बनता है, किसी में हाइपर सेंसिटिविटी रिएक्शन ज़्यादा ओवर एक्टिव होता है, किसी में इम्यूनोलॉजिकल अल्टरेशन होता है. सो एज ए ब्रॉड कंसेप्ट इज दैट in this way the lung interstitial lung disease is going to develop. So this is the basic mechanism, this is the pathological changes, and we have tried to make a correlation how the pathological changes are going to seen in case of interstitial lung disease, in case of pneumoconiosis, and we make a correlation the whole step the pathological changes step by step. So first inhalation of the dust particle followed by activation of the macrophages along with the aggregation at the site of lesion. Macrophage activate the leukocyte by the release of the various kind of cytokines like cytotoxic cytokines and fibrogenic cytokines. Cytotoxic cytokines क्या करेगा, डिस्ट्रक्शन कराएगा by the activation of leukocyte that releases various kind of enzymes. और उधर क्या फाइब्रोजेनिक जो साइटोकाइंस है वो क्या कराएगा कि फाइब्रोब्लास्ट को एक्टिवेट करेगा, उससे क्या होगा कि फाइब्रोसिस होगा. इधर डैमेज हो रहा था, डिस्ट्रक्शन हो रहा था, वो भी हीलिंग के प्रोसेस में आएगा तो उससे भी फाइब्रोसिस होगा. तो फाइब्रोसिस ज़्यादा होने लगेगा लंग पैरेन्काइमा के अंदर, और जैसे ही फाइब्रोसिस ज़्यादा होगा the expansion capacity will be going to decrease because the fibrosic or fibroblast has got contractile property. They try to contract, they try to constrict. So expansion capacity of the lung is going to reduce here, and that initiate the various kind of clinical manifestation in the form of exertional dyspnea, in the form of dry cough, along with the tachypnea, along with the cyanosis. So that kind of changes will be clinically manifest, and if the disease is going to advance, it can involve the immunological mechanism, immunological reaction also. So in the immunological reaction, there may be chance of a development of Kaplan syndrome. If the hypersensitivity reaction is going to increase, so that may create the granuloma formation. So in this way, the whole mechanism is discussed, and this is the usual step, this is the usual mechanism, this is the basic channel, this is the pathogenesis through which whole interstitial lung disease is going to develop. So I think the concept of pathogenesis is clear for all of you. In the next class, we shall try to start pneumoconiosis separately, but one thing is clear that it is a very long and vast chapter, because अगर सारे हम लोग interstitial lung disease को अलग से discuss करेंगे तो that take very much time, but we shall try to discuss the only important pneumoconiosis, and that will be known as cold worker pneumoconiosis. That is because many questions are asked, and if the time allows, then will be discuss another type of pneumoconiosis, another type of interstitial lung disease. So we have just here we make a general concept about the interstitial lung disease. रिस्ट्रिक्टिव लंग डिजीज क्या है, क्यों रिस्ट्रिक्शन होता है, वो कौन कौन से कारण है, इंटरस्टिशियल लंग डिजीज क्या है, इंटरस्टिशियल लंग डिजीज में कौन कौन से हैं, कौन कौन से इंटरस्टिशियल लंग डिजीज कराते हैं, और एक हम लोग जनरल मैकेनिज्म पैथोजेनेसिस समझने का कोशिश किए कि हाउ दिस इंटरस्टिशियल लंग डिजीज एज ए होल इट इज़ गोइंग टू डेवलप, एंड व्हाट आर द पैथोलॉजिकल changes that can be seen in the lung parenchyma in the affected region, and that can be changes can also be seen in the radiological finding. And after correlating all these things, taking the history and taking the necessary investigation, we are certainly able to diagnose a case of interstitial lung disease, and also we are able to diagnose the etiological diagnosis of interstitial lung disease. So this is all about today purpose. In the next class we shall try to discuss whole worker pneumoconiosis, because many time a long question is asked in the university examination, so our focus will be whole worker pneumoconiosis. So in the next class we shall discuss. Till thank you.